Hi, I'm Milo Denison.
And I'm Kev Bamboo, and this is Rip It Up Again.
Rip It Up is a topical show about life impacting creatives around the world today.
Yeah, Milo, and on tonight's show, we're excited. Did you see what I did there?
Yeah,
Excited to be joined by
there would have been a
self-confessed.
quick little you did a if we had
You
if we
can
had
chuck one
somebody.
in post, a little,
Okay, yeah, I'll throw it
a
in there.
mini,
Yeah.
a mini roll. Excited to be joined by self-confessed foodie and stand-up comedian Emily Brighty. But before we talk to Emily, Milo, you love a good laugh. I know that, right? So, what really brightens your day and makes you laugh every time? You can't say my previously ridiculous moustache either.
First of all, the mustache wasn't ridiculous at all. It was quite cool, and you should have kept it.
It's there. It's just this
It's
beard.
no, it doesn't work with the beard.
I've got to grow
And
this
you really
out.
should have
I've
kind of brought it up too. But
gone, gone for
so
the old
no,
handle.
there's nothing laughable about a cool mustache. Um, what makes me laugh? I don't know, all kinds of good comedies, not stupid comedy. So like I'm not a fan of like comedy shows where everybody's supposed to be smart but they're an idiot. I like smart comedy. I like smart comedians that kind of make you think a little bit with their comedy. So generally, if a comedian is getting in trouble with somebody for something he or she said, they're the kind of comedian I like. So that's generally mine. I like the comedians that push the boundaries just a little bit.
Cool. It's
Good.
you.
You? No, yeah. No, I was gonna do. What makes you laugh,
Oh, you're
Kev?
going to bounce it,
I'm gonna
bounce back
turn
to
it
me.
back. I know we don't normally do this, but I'm gonna
Yeah,
turn
I
it
know.
back.
Yeah,
What makes you
getting me
laugh,
on the
Kev?
spot now. What brightens my day? What makes me laugh? Well, I could easily say that you brighten my day, but that'd be very, very creepy and generic.
And we're
Um,
getting rid of the snare, and now we're going to the horn of that. Wah, wah, wah.
yeah.
All right.
Family, mate, brightens my day. Seeing family, catching up with them, and they make me laugh at the same time because it can be incredibly stupid and funny, but in all the good ways. So yeah, I'd say that. Pretty generic, but
Okay. All right. Well, good enough. Anyway, let's get to actually something entertaining besides the two of us, and that is Emily. So, Emily, thank you for joining us on Rip It Up. And let's just start off by telling us a bit about yourself.
Hello, I'm Emily. I have recently graduated from a master's at the University of York studying food and music and how they, thank you very much,
Mm.
and how they affect each other, which is really cool. I am a professionally trained chocolate sculptor. I grew up working in chocolate. My mum owns her own chocolate business.
Sorry to
Yes.
interrupt there, but what is you need to explain what that is.
I went on a professional training course to learn how to make sculptures out of chocolate.
Okay.
So
Yeah.
is that because obviously you get a chocolatier, but then
Yeah.
is this like a sculpt?
Do
I
you
don't
take
know.
is it like
Yeah.
a sculpture where you take a solid chunk of chocolate and sculpt it? Or do you do like a mold and then mold it into the chocolate?
It depends on the project, really. You can do it both ways. Although the doing it with a mold is not really sculpting, so to speak. But when I went on the course, I was taught loads of different techniques in just making chocolate look like different things. So we made a block of chocolate that looked like a block of marble, and then I carved chocolate to look like wood. And the going to this course, you had to make a chocolate sculpture which was a meter high, and you got taught loads of different techniques in what to, and like it showed me so many different things because you can freeze chocolate and then spray it with cocoa butter and it makes it look furry. It's really
Oh wow.
interesting. Yeah.
Yeah, because I've
And it
heard
like
about
looks really
the
soft.
way of making it glossy, tempering chocolate, but obviously the
Yes.
opposite way of actually bringing it back from a
Mm.
cooler state. That's nice. Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. Yeah, and my mum and I have done so many different sculptures. We've made a working chocolate roulette wheel, full size. We've made the Trinity College courtyard out of chocolate for their for an anniversary of women being able to study there. And we've done so many sculptures over the years. People buy them for events and stuff.
Cool. All right.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah. Sorry to interrupt there, but I had to find out
Oh,
more about that.
No, definitely. No, that's
So back to you.
cool,
Well, besides that, yeah. So you're a foodie, a comic, and
Yeah.
you host a podcast.
Yes.
Mhm.
Yes, I host a podcast called Food Did What Now? And it dives into the history of food and answers certain questions that you might think about food, but you've never actually thought to research. Like, one of the things I did, this isn't on an episode, but I did it as an Instagram story, where does French toast come from? Like, is it French? It's not French.
yeah.
And it's just looking into those different things and then just finding out the histories of food and sharing fun facts I find out along the way. Like, peas are the oldest vegetable, but my mum is older than a certain variety of pea because we've bred new peas into existence. Yeah.
I'm sure she
'cause you
appreciated
think
it
of
when you
something-
told her that piece of information. Did you?
Oh,
know
absolutely.
You're older than a pea.
You're older than that variety of pea,
Mhm.
that variety of pea, and that variety of pea. Okay.
Yeah.
Ever have an argument with me? You're older than a pea. Okay. But so obviously with the pod and food and everything, so how did you come to actually, with the idea to blend the idea of comedy and food together effectively?
It all stemmed with someone. It actually started during COVID. Someone told me that between the layer of wafer and a Kit Kat is more crushed up Kit Kat, and that started my kind of comedy thing. And well, no, it didn't start my comedy thing, but it started the process into starting a podcast and blending food and my passions together. Well, actually, okay, sorry, my answer's kind of be quite convoluted. Food.
That's all right.
I've
Take
always.
your time.
Let me
We're not
start from the
live.
beginning.
We're not live. Let's go.
That's true.
Take a sec.
I've always loved food. Growing up, I wanted to be a chef, and ended up being a chocolatier. And I still love cooking. I have been a chef in some places, and growing up, we found out that we had a friend who, when she eats food, she hears music. And so I did a college project based on what she heard when she ate certain chocolates that I had my mum make. And then I did a whole college project about that.
So, I'm just thinking of your friend's mindset is like, I can hear music.
Yeah,
It's like, what?
I know, it's called a thing called synesthesia, and she has it between. There's loads of different types. Some of the most common ones are people
Wow.
not associate. When people see words, they're in certain colours, and it's not anything that. It's all in their brain. It's really fascinating, and some ones that have been heard before is just when people see colours when they hear music and things like that. So taste sound synesthesia is actually quite a rare one, and it's amazing.
Yeah, that was a new one on me. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe obviously it does exist, but yeah, it was never really entered me as such.
The human brain is a crazy thing.
It's so fascinating. Yeah. And then, so I did that, and then I went to. So then I went to university, and I wanted to do more of that kind of thing. So my final project was, for my undergraduate, was how taste and music are related, like how they affect each other. And then my master's was obviously in a very similar area. But in terms of comedy, have you heard of Marvelous Mrs. Maisel?
I love that show.
I love it too.
It is so well written.
I'm feeling like everything is revelation for me
is
today.
so well done. Just from an acting standpoint too, the fact that they're like, I mean, everything is so quick, and it's really impressive.
I've never heard of it.
You've never heard of it?
Never heard of it?
It's on Amazon Prime.
I can understand not seeing it, but you've never heard of it?
Yeah, no, I feel like I'm in a whole wave of firsts for me tonight. It's like first, it's like you're bringing me with, hearing music as whatever it was,
When you eat,
and now we're on. Now, so what was her name? Mrs. Marmalade.
Marvelous Mrs. Maisel. Watch
Wow.
it. It's so good. I watched it and was like, I could do that, and ended up joining Comedy Society at the University of York. And I joined Comedy Society through, I auditioned to be in the Dead Ducks, which is a sketch comedy group that you have to audition to be into. And I got in, first try. Was quite blown aback by that because I didn't think I was funny, but I thought I'd give it a go. And then I got in, and then I got really involved with the Comedy Society. I became the director of the Dead Ducks the following year. I actually did a master's so that I could be the Dead Ducks director. I hadn't actually applied for my master's before I went for the Dead Ducks director. I was like, oh, well, that decides it. I got to come back and do a master's. But yeah, someone told me that in the Kit Kat there is more Kit Kat inside between the wafers. And this led me on a journey to try and find out how the first Kit Kat was made.
Ah, okay.
which led
And-
to a podcast. Okay.
Which led to a podcast and a stand-up set all about it. And yeah, I have a video of that. I haven't actually watched it back yet because watching yourself back is difficult. So yeah, I'll release it eventually, but my Kit Kat episode will be coming out soon, hopefully,
Oh.
on the podcast. So
Well, it definitely seems like an obvious choice because most people like to laugh. Most people like food. With you, how do you decide what jokes you think are going to work? Like, do you have like a venue or event that you go to test out material, like open mic nights, that kind of stuff?
yeah, so with the Comedy Society, they have a sketch workshop. No, sorry, a stand-up workshop, and you can go there, test material, you get feedback, and all that kind of thing. And basically, what I normally do when writing a set is, does this make me laugh? If not, I won't use it. But if I'm like chuckling to myself in my room whilst I'm writing it, I'm like, yeah, I'm keeping this in. So yeah.
And that's always a good rule of thumb, isn't it? Often I find myself chuckling to myself about the most stupidest thing, but yeah, in the main, if you find yourself in a position where you're like, yeah, that's funny, someone else is going to find it funny, and it's a good rule.
I think that all the time, and I'll make my joke, and my wife looks at me like I'm an idiot. So I don't know about that rule. Stuff I think is funny.
Well, at least you got your wife to have some honest advice bounced
Yeah.
back at you, just like, don't do that, Milo.
Yeah.
Don't bother with it. So let's talk about food then, because obviously you're talking about Kit Kats. Well, let's
Yes.
talk about food and the fun that you can have with food. So Emily, what is the most fun or hilarious food experience that you've had?
Oh. Most fun is probably this year I went to go see the World Chocolate Masters final in France, and it was such an amazing experience. But one of the contestants, the guy who ended up winning, I actually have it with me here, which is really cool. It was really fun. So they had a task where it was called share, #share. And they had to use something made out of chocolate, which was made through 3D printing, and make a dessert that was designed to be shared with people. And so the winner actually ended up giving everyone in the audience one of his desserts without the fillings and stuff. But this is a 3D printed chocolate thing that he made, but there was a QR code with it, and when you scan the QR code, it takes you to an Instagram story, and it has a filter, and a little plant grows out, and there's a little butterfly that flies around it, and that was really cool.
That's pretty cool.
Oh, that's creative.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, you can see why he won.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Like quite inventive with kind of holding, captive audience, I suppose, beyond just the live thing. Take it outside as well. Augmented reality, I suppose, in some ways, isn't it?
Yes.
Um,
Yeah.
but-
It wasn't particularly funny, I guess, but it was really interesting, and I found
No,
it fun.
Well, it's still
absolutely.
fun. Yeah, it doesn't
Yeah.
necessarily need to
That's
be
true.
funny, huh? But
What about yourself, Milo? Have you had any interesting foods?
yeah, I'm not much of a foodie, but I
Hilarious.
do enjoy the what is the Japanese steakhouse where they do the thing where they have the grill and you sit around the grill and they throw the stuff in the air and catch it and dice it all up in front of you and make the little so A, the food is delicious, and B, you get an entertaining show out of it. So that's probably that's the first thing that came to my mind when this came up.
Yeah, I do like some of that actually. I think for me, it has to actually go back to, well, maybe one of two of our previous episodes that we've done, our little challenge episodes that we've done, which included food, and we've been having a bit of a laugh with some really hot and spicy stuff lately, which included chocolate, and then some relatively disgusting stuff. So it's nice to watch each of us be put through a little bit of kind of pain at the time. I don't think there's any sympathy, either way. It's just like, you've got to eat next, mate.
That's pretty much it. Better you than me. Well, and that's true. And the last one we did was quite rough because we both ate a lot of the pepper chocolate on that.
Yeah, well, you decided to basically blend all of the chilies and all of the chili-based chocolates together into one and made them into little penguins. So they look cute and, irresistible, obviously. And then, pop one of those in your mouth.
Yeah, we were both sweating quite a bit.
Oh wow.
We had some lovely slimy, mushy herrings though to kind of,
Wash it down.
balance the flavour with.
Delightful.
So, if you've ever tried chocolate, spice, and herring, had a little beer with it so that way you had a nice burp to get that all.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's living right there.
And then some liquid underpants juice as well, or whatever it was
whatever it was. Yeah, some
finish off some
German
little
digestive
digestive
at the end.
Oh.
Digestive. All right.
Wow.
So now that we've alienated anyone watching with that's disgusting.
They've all
gone. They were hilarious. Emily, obviously you make people laugh, of course, and why don't you regale us with some? Do you got like a bit, some jokes, a sketch, something you want to share with us?
I've got some food history stuff, so this is my kind of like a small version of what I do on my show. So we're going to talk a little bit about canapes. Do you guys know much about canapes?
I know how to eat them.
Yeah,
excellent.
I tend to like them very much.
Yeah,
most
generally,
of the time.
I approve of them.
Good.
Be about it.
Yeah.
Thanks very much. I'll have one of those.
Okay, so with canapes, I asked my audience when they thought they originated. Would you like to guess first, or would you like to hear their guesses and then have a guess?
I think we should hear their guesses because that way it'll help me narrow in my answer.
Okay. So the first response I got to this was, they didn't. They never existed. It's a figment of your imagination. Yeah.
That's what happens when you have other comedians on a comedy show.
Yeah.
That's when you've eaten too many canapes. That's what happens.
Someone did guess the 1400s, the late 1600s and early 1700s. When someone accidentally left their meal in the dryer and shrunk it. Yeah. Someone's first thought was the 60s or 70s with the dinner party boom, but they're going to say mid 19th century. Someone guessed 6,789, followed by 4 sunglass smile emojis.
Makes sense, yeah.
That was actually one of my sisters.
Did they sign it off with McFly?
No, they should have done. And then their final guess was the 1700s.
Ooh.
I feel like they are either a French or British origin, leading back to like royalty entertaining kind of a thing. So I don't think I'm going to go to the either 14 or 1500s, probably around that time frame.
Okay.
You're thinking kind of like a bit of King Louis action, kind of something
That's
like
what
that.
I'm
maybe.
thinking. Yeah. He's having a party, a bunch of other rich people over, and decides, here's a little appetizers.
Well, and he says, canapé, and you go,
Canapé.
oh,
It sounds
no,
French.
they're free.
Exactly. Like if you're gonna say canapé, it sounds very French.
Yeah. And then like, no, they're free. You don't have to pay. But see, that's how it originated. Someone went, oh yeah, I'll have one of those. Can I pay for that? No, they're free, mate.
Good
Circa
one.
1992. No, I'm gonna go for. I think it's way back. I think it's way beyond all that. I'm gonna go for something like 500.
Okay.
AD, something like that.
Okay. I can reveal that canapes originated in the mid 1800s.
Ooh, that late.
Ah, what?
Oh.
Yeah. So they were invented in France by a chef.
Well, I got the French part right.
Yeah. And they're named canapes.
Matching at straws.
What? They're named
Milo's
canapes.
clutching at straws with his answer.
Oh. They're named canapes after sofas. So canapé was a French word for sofa, and because a canapé is a bread of some sort, which is kind of nowadays can be puff pastry, with a topping on it, and they thought that it looked like things on a little sofa, like people sit on a sofa. It's like a little food sofa, so they called it a canapé because it looks like a sofa.
Makes sense.
Yeah, and I've got a few facts for you. Traditionally, they were on stale bread that were sliced thin and then shaped, and then either fried or toasted, and then topped with a spread, some sort of main feature topping, and then a garnish. So, for example, you got a little thing of toast, you got some cream cheese, you got your salmon, maybe some dill or a little bit of caviar. So that's kind of a traditional canapé. And the popularity of canapé boomed in 1920s America with the Prohibition. So
they're like, we can't drink, so we might as well eat little food items.
Well, they'd actually serve them at speakeasies to kind of help soak up the alcohol. So when people left, they weren't making a massive ruckus because they actually had some food in their bellies to draw attention away.
A little sobering bite for them to have.
Yeah.
Oh,
that's cool. Yeah, because a lot of people do think then that the boom would have come in that kind of 60s, 70s. As one of the people, one of your guests said, dinner parties or whatever. So the fact that it actually came more in the Art Deco era is interesting, but it makes sense.
Yeah.
No, I like that. That's nice. Some good facts there. I was way off. Milo,
should I ever need it for trivia night?
There you
won
go.
that one. So instead of me eating something disgusting, you get to eat a canapé if you've got any. That's your prize. That right. So, right, this one. So we've asked you a few questions. Obviously, you've just kind of asked us another question, but you've now got for Milo.
Oh, yes.
Milo, a question in our Ask an American feature. Yeah, take it away.
Okay. As someone who has never visited America, what would you say is a must-do thing if you visit America?
Twinkie.
Twinkie. You must have a Twinkie. I don't know if I'd say that. The problem with not the problem, but the thing about the US is it's so large that the experience you have going to Florida is going to be completely different than the experience you have going to Montana. But I would say if going to the US, you got to have a huge ass breakfast food wise, because here you get the full English, right, which is just sausage, another kind of meat, some beans, and some more meat. So but in the US you can get you can just get a giant thing and it's like hash browns and eggs.
Is that what they call it? The giant,
yeah. They call it the full American. I don't know what they call it. But you get go to any proper breakfast restaurant and you'll just get this. But the thing is, there's a variety of it, right? So you can get that, or you can get an omelet, or you can get a giant stack of
pancakes,
French toast, or pancakes, or whatever. So I'd say, as a foodie, try a couple different breakfast restaurants and get a nice variety. The last time we went, not the last time, but one of the trips that we went, I took my wife to a place where we got a cinnamon roll that was this big. It was this massive cinnamon roll.
It was just all of the cinnamon rolls.
No, that's
together. Yeah.
It was a properly rolled giant cinnamon roll. This place is known for this cinnamon roll, so we had to go there. Breakfast burritos,
I've seen that
whatever,
on Instagram.
whatever. Yeah, they're big on their giant breakfasts in the US.
So yeah, I am, because I'm a big fan of your pancakes. The only things that really kind of come close in the UK is our little Scotch ones for kind of flavour and taste and stuff like that. But obviously we don't tend to have the giant ones, and then we have our version of a crepe, which
crepes
are nice.
Yeah.
But
crepes, absolutely.
Yeah, I do like them. But as the actual kind of what I would call a proper pancake. I mean, it might be totally historically be going against the grain for food. Yeah, but from an American point of view, I think they nailed the kind of the sweetened pancake, which is impressed by that.
There's another episode for you, the history of the pancake.
Yeah.
Yes, thank you.
Absolutely.
I want to do desserts at some point.
Giving you all this extra content to kind of research.
So. Thank you very much.
Biscuits and gravy. You can get
I have had that. It's very tasty.
That kind of stuff. All right, so let's stop talking about food because it's making me hungry, and let's talk about a badly drawn bamboo. So I love seeing the creative ways that people make Kev look terrible. So, Emily, you brought a badly drawn bamboo for us?
I did.
Brilliant. Let's bring it in.
Oh, that's genius. That is such a cool take on it.
That isn't even bad. I am a bamboo. That is fantastic. That's brilliant. Yeah. Just there, yeah. If you hold it up, I'm going to try and mimic it. So,
yeah, that looks. You need the hands.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I love that out of the box.
That could be in like a kid's book or something.
I was really hoping that no one had done that before, because that was the only thing that came to mind to do.
No one's drawn me as a piece of bamboo. I think they've drawn me within bamboo.
Okay.
And there's been like the odd piece
on the elephant thing.
The old elephant. Yeah. I've been an elephant, sat on an elephant, taking a photograph, eating paella.
Very nice.
Yeah.
A mug shot for a murderer, a serial killer.
Oh yeah. Yeah, with one ear missing, kind of Van Gogh style, but then done in the style of Picasso, so kind of everything going on. And we had one. What was the one we had? Oh, where I had my head. I was immortalised as it was the helicopter zombie dude, wasn't it? That played that guy.
Jim.
Jim Crute. Yeah, he did a picture of me with the top of my head chopped off and basically emulated the role of him, which was pretty nice. It was only a cartoon, so it wasn't horrific.
Okay.
So
But no,
yeah, that's
I really
good,
like
Emily.
that.
I like that. Yeah.
Thank you.
But it's not bad. It's not bad. So you didn't read the memo. It's not badly
Sorry.
drawn. So I'm gonna have to rate it something like, oh, okay. It looks nothing like me, but obviously it kind of is a characteristic of me. So, and it isn't drawn badly. It's a really good sketch. So I'm gonna have to rate this. Now, a low rating is kind of good if you're not bothered about it being drawn bad. If that makes
Okay.
sense. If it was really, really bad, you'd be getting like a 28 out of 10.
Okay.
So this is probably going to be something like a 1.
Okay.
A 1
out of 10.
out of 10.
Yeah, because it's not bad.
I'm flattered.
Yeah.
Wow. Somebody's that I think he's only maybe given one before.
Oh.
Yeah, I think we've had a 0.5.
Oh yeah, did you get a 0.5?
I think so. Yeah.
So you're
few
probably in
twos.
probably top 3 there, Emily.
Probably in the top 3 of maybe 20 drawings.
Yeah. So you've
maybe
actually pretty much completely failed the task that you were assigned.
Oops.
So
Well,
Milo,
I mean, I'm not. Yeah. I thought I can't draw people, so I figured I'd do a bad caricature as Bamboo, but
I like it.
turned out to.
I'd definitely
shoot
put
myself
that
in the
some
foot.
kind of book.
Yeah.
Some kind of book as a character, just there, just bouncing along like a stick, just oh hello, yeah, just whatever. Milo, where can people go to send in their own submissions of me?
Why, yes, audience. If you have a badly drawn bamboo that you would like to send in of Kev, you can send it to bamboo_creatives on Instagram. That's BMBOO_creatives on Instagram. And Kev will see that. And you might be featured on a future episode of Rip It Up with your badly drawn bamboo. Back to you, Kev.
Yeah, that was amazing, Emily. Like, I do get, I don't think I've really ever had any seriously bad ones. I've not given anyone a 10 out of 10 in terms of badness yet. I think I've had an 8 maybe. But yeah, so moving on. Obviously we're talking to fabulous foodie factophile, if that is a word that exists, I don't know. That is Emily Brighty. So we've had the fun and exciting and hilarious food moments, but what's been your most tragic or frightening food experience that may also be hilarious to others?
Oh. Frightening food experience.
I'm having to think myself now, actually.
I know, I was doing the same thing. I'm like, I may think about this because when it comes around to us, I'm going to have to come up with something.
Well, there's one that I don't remember, and then there's one that I do remember. Does that make sense? So when I was really young, apparently I stuck peas up either my nose or in my ears, and then I had to go, and my parents took me to hospital, and I was going to have surgery to get them removed, and then I started sneezing, and then they started shooting out somewhere. They tell me that story a lot, and then, I mean, it's not a great story, but like, I was in Poland once on a school trip, and I can't remember what it was, what I was given, what I'd got at this restaurant, but the chicken inside it was raw, or the chicken in it was raw. No. And then I returned it, and then they sent it back out. They literally just put it on a different plate and sent it back out again.
You do not want to eat raw chicken. Wow.
No.
So did you send it back a third time, or were you like, you know what? I'm going to go
I
eat
just didn't
somewhere else.
eat. Yeah, I was just like, I'm not going to eat that. Yeah.
That sucks.
So,
yeah.
Especially when it's like maybe got the same fork marks in there that that you'd previously put in it, and you're like, they're either really, really bad on their timings, or this is just the same piece that I've just had.
Yeah. It wasn't good.
Yeah, that's
Milo,
tough.
what about yourself? Have you
Yeah, I mean, I've certainly had gross food places where you're like, I can't eat this type
Mm.
situations. Like I remember I was in Argentina once and I ordered just a spaghetti with like a marinara sauce. And I don't know where they got that sauce from, but it was like more or less it was almost like a soup with spaghetti noodles in it of like a red and it was like it was unedible. Like I took a few bites and I'm like, I literally cannot eat this. So there was that.
I mean, it's
But
not hard to get a carbon,
that's the thing. I mean, it's not hard to do a
come
marinara
on.
sauce or a
Mm.
Yeah.
bolognese or whatever. Um, but the thing that came to mind actually when you mentioned your peas up your nose was when I was a little kid. I never didn't stick anything up my nose, but I remember we my parents went out and we had a babysitter and she made dinner and she made spinach, like the cooked spinach, where it's like
Yeah.
just a pile of green mush and it's disgusting.
Yeah.
Yeah, just
Oh yeah.
slime. Yeah.
And I was a little kid and I'm like, I wouldn't eat it. I'm like, no, I won't eat it. Right. And so she made me sit at the table till my mom came home. And my mom didn't let me go either. So by the time my mom forced me to eat the spinach, I'd been sitting there like
Oh
all
no.
night. It was cold. It was disgusting. I remember I was crying and it traumatized me to the point where now I hate spinach. I refuse to eat spinach
I
because
mean,
of
that
this.
must have set off so
Oh.
much
That's
that
what
you
I'm
could have
saying. It
like
must
just
have
cut
there
it
for.
like a
Mhm.
like an omelette almost, because it was so, just
I just remember it being cold and mushy and just so gross. And
Ugh.
I refused to eat spinach ever since.
Ah,
Yeah.
that's
Thanks, Mom. You traumatized me.
yeah. Cheers for that. Thanks.
Mhm.
Me. Oh wow. There's several I know. I could probably embarrass several of my siblings with stuff just over the years, just things
Oh, yeah.
like,
Something
just
they
don't
cook and you're like,
just going
thanks.
into the garden and eating some random plant, just thinking that it's like, oh, when you're a kid, you're just like, oh, it must
Hmm.
be rhubarb. I'll just eat this raw plant. Um, but I, I think one of the ones for me that would go down as kind of tragic, but to others will be absolutely hilarious, is so don't judge me because I was at this little stove chimenea thing that I was at a campsite and I had this nice little the coals that were nice and warm in there, and I was like, oh, you know what, I'll bake something in there like you would, just wrap a potato in some foil, chuck it in.
Hmm.
So I popped that in there, but I think I'd also had a few drinks as well. And I was the last person kind of sat around there. And I decided it'd be a good idea also at the same time to take an empty can and do this makeshift, make a candle with some wax. And I started heating up the wax in there. And I set myself on fire because I went to pour out my nice hot molten wax with these makeshift tongs at the same time. You're just questioning everything about me now, Mike. I can see like, who is this dude? Um,
Well, I was when you started your story, I was going to chalk it up to being young, but then you mentioned you had been drinking, and I'm like, okay, never mind. You can't
yeah,
chalk it up to
I
being
mean, I
young.
may well have been, I may well
It
have
was
been,
like last summer.
underage, but yeah, it's like 8 months ago. Uh,
Okay.
it was probably about 5 years ago, so old enough definitely to know better. And yeah, I just thought, oh yeah, I'll pour this in. So as I poured it in, of course, there was a bit of paraffin in the wax there and stuff, and that set fire. So I had a whole blaze go up one side of me. Went into a whole. This is no exaggeration either. I went into a whole Eskimo roll to put myself out, and all I remember was like for a couple of days, even though I showered and everything. By the way, I never got to eat the lovely baked potato.
Oh, I was
Oh.
wondering. I was going to ask actually how the potato was.
Yeah, no, that ended up stuck to my head somewhere. Like, no, I literally, I remember for a few days that all I could smell was smoky bacon crisps, and I was like, Where's that coming from? And the only thing in it, I thought, oh no, I didn't burn like my skin, like I didn't get like 3rd-degree burns or anything, but I didn't burn my skin. Although I lost
That's good.
hair on the side of one side of my leg, and then obviously coming up because I had like shorts and t-shirt on. Once I had a bigger beard, so I had one side of my beard, but it was all the smouldery hair that had gone down. This was giving this crispy, yeah, it was, yeah, and all I could smell for a couple of days was, and a bit of my hair at the side had gone, so the whole side of my body, yeah, set myself on fire. So don't drink, kids, and don't sit around a chimenea and try to make candles and drink specifically. Otherwise, you'll end up smelling of crispy bacon.
Lesson learned.
You wasn't expecting that one.
No.
Okay. So let's get into more food related items. So we have a segment normally called our desert island moment. What would you bring with you if you were stranded on a desert island? But for this, since we're food based today, we have the specially adopted for this episode, a desert island food moment. So Emily, we've had amazing answers from you about food, so let's keep it going. And if you had to take just one food item with you on a desert island, what would it be and why?
Oh, excellent question. I wasn't expecting that. One food item. Okay, question.
Go for it.
Is it like an endless supply of it, or is it like, could I bring a live animal with me and then just kind of rear the animal?
Slowly eat it. So, why does your pig only have three legs? Let me tell you a story about this pig.
Like, could I rear chickens and have that as my food source, or does it need to be just like one?
That's the.
Could I break the system?
That is good. That's forward planning. You're expecting to stay on this island, not me.
Yeah.
I mean,
so it does make sense that you would kind of think something that could reproduce. Yeah, but you only get one item. So if it's a chicken, it doesn't get its rooster.
Does FedEx ship?
Okay. What about a cow?
Cow's good.
Then I could milk
Slowly
the cow, make cheese, then eat the cow. Maybe it's already pregnant when I come on the island, and then extra cow. And then by the time I run out of cows.
Now is it like, and it's had a genetics test and it's gonna be a bull, so
you want a pregnant cow
to breed it.
Yeah, and then by the then once I've eaten the cow or cows, then I can formulate a plan to leave.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna go with the cow, and that's hopefully
a pregnant cow.
It definitely buys you some time.
It is good. That's good.
I got my milk. I got my cream. I got my cheese.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
And eventually,
just gotta hope that there's some lush pasture on there, or some trees, or something where you can feed the cow to keep them healthy as well. So other responsibilities you got, and that's energy.
Yeah.
You know.
I mean, I'm hoping for trees so I can build my own little hut. Yeah. I don't really know what's on this desert island. Is it an actual desert? Is it just sand?
This is why you're one item.
This is dreadful. Okay.
It's actually desert. It's not going to be a happy cow.
All you have is this one food and nothing else. It's only sand.
It's like an island covered in sand, you and a cow.
Imagine you end up on that island and the only thing that you've got in your pocket is a pea. This will be karma from your mum. It'll be a pea. You take out your pocket and you go, bloody hell, mum. You know, it's that variety of pea that's older than that your mum's older at.
Sugar snap peas, yeah.
Yeah, or as they call they call them snow peas in the US.
Are those really that young?
Yeah, they're less than they're about 50 years old.
I didn't realize that either. Wow.
Yeah,
I thought they'd be much older. Yeah, because like they're kind of like munch too. They're from the bean kind of family, aren't they? You know the runner bean kind of family. So, but
amazing.
Wow, yeah.
I'm going with a live cow and hoping that there's vegetation on this island.
All right, that's a good answer.
It's definitely it's probably our best. It's probably our best answer actually so far, because a lot of people have just taken a single item, or they've taken Well,
because we've made it food related. Yeah.
Yeah, true. Yeah.
Usually it's an item, but this time, but I guess your cow could be your item, so people could have said
either that or a potato.
Or a potato.
A potato.
If I can have, I know I can only have one, but if I can have both,
multiply. Yeah.
Yeah, if I have both, then it's all the vitamins and minerals you need to survive.
That's true.
Yeah, a cow and a potato. Just don't try and put your potato in a chimenea and make candles of an evening.
Yeah.
When you've made some
I'll-
poutine, when you've made some poutine as well with the
Yeah.
with the potato.
I'll learn from
Yeah.
your mistake. Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, absolutely cracking answer. So Emily, we also have another. Well, this is another food one because everything's food related tonight. So
Lovely.
we usually ask people on here as well. What is your favourite cheese or cheeses?
Ooh. First favourite, mozzarella.
Any particular type of mozzarella or just plain old mozzarella?
Proper like buffalo mozzarella from Italy. Like it doesn't taste the same as how it is in England. I had it in Italy, tastes so different, and it's miles better than anything you can get here.
It's like the whole supermarket tomatoes against, like homegrown tomatoes, and especially when they've come from like a hot country or Mediterranean country, just different animal or vegetable.
Yeah.
Or fruit.
Technically a berry, but yeah, anyway. I do love Wensleydale. And then I've really
nice.
grown to love Camembert recently. Bake it in some bread. Have your own like cheese and bread dip thing.
Oh,
Very
like
tasty.
a big kind of Camembert tub of.
Yeah, so you
bread
cut out a hole in the bread. Maybe add some like garlic butter or something. Then you bake the Camembert in the bread. You cut up the bit that you cut out, and then make it into like crouton type things. And you can make your own like charcuterie board around this like bread cheese dip thing.
That sounds good.
Yeah.
It's really good.
And I'm not a massive fan of overly runny cheese, but like that, done that way.
Yeah, because you're.
Yeah, just dipping away at it, kind of almost. Yeah.
It's like a cheese fondue. Yeah.
It's almost like you've racletted everything into your little, bread tub, and then gone right. Okay, crack on. Yeah, well, I'll have one of those, please.
Yeah, totally.
Cheese is. This question always can sometimes go into different dimensions and things, but that is. Yeah, I love that. Milo, do you want to add anything to the cheese dip?
Nope. Well, I don't know. I guess I could dip some stuff in the cheese dip, but no.
Put some cheese in there as croutons.
Yeah, maybe a little variety of cheeses in the cheese dip. Some beer, and you pour some deep beer in your cheese dip and stir that in.
Or beer bread and then hollowed out.
There you go. Yeah. So no, sounds delicious. And as always, I'm enthralled to be participant in another discussion about cheese on this show. So
another one.
Yeah. Emily,
Yes.
before we wrap up, can you let our viewers know where they can find your podcast, social media, if they want to see your next stand-up show, that kind of stuff?
Absolutely. So you can find my podcast on Spotify, Google Podcasts, Apple Podcasts, pretty much most places that you can get your podcast. I have Instagram, and the handle is Food Did What Now? And you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, a little bit of Twitter. I'm not very good at Twitter, so mainly Instagram and Facebook. And if you want to see my stand-up stuff, then you can follow my personal Instagram, and I update people on there. And my personal Instagram is, let me just check, because it's one of two handles, and I can't remember which one. Because I think Twitter is either Mini Musician or Mini Chocolatier, and I can't remember. And then Instagram's the other one, and I can't remember. Mini Chocolatier.
Chocolatier in the notes, yeah.
My Instagram is Mini Chocolatier, all lowercase, no spaces, and I update people on what I'm doing. At some point in the future, I'm about to move out of the country for a couple of years, but when I come back, so with Lotherton Hall, they want to do an event that is kind of to do with my food and music thing. So I'll kind of revisit my college project in terms of the music and food, and then we'll have the chocolates that were made at that point and you'll get to listen to the music, hopefully played by a live orchestra, and
That'd be fun.
Yeah, and then I might do, because I gave her 15 chocolates and I only wrote for 9 of them. So I might write for some of the others, and then you'll get to hear the music and eat the chocolate and have a jolly old chocolate time.
Yeah,
Or they've got to eat 6 chocolates and forget about those ones. No, good project to focus on. So where are you going when you go out of the UK?
I'm
What's your
moving to
plans?
Australia.
Excellent.
Australia. Wow.
Yeah.
You're like, how
So-
can I get any farther away? Oh, Australia.
Australia! Yeah, so I'm going to move out there, move in with my aunt and uncle for a bit, and then do some travelling.
Cool.
Excellent. That sounds awesome. Right, so anyway, yeah, thanks for having us on. I think what we're going to do now is we're going to go and see the show out with a food did what now style quiz, I think.
Yes. So I have 4 questions for you, and we're just going to kind of go through them. Okay, so...
Do we need some kind of buzzer sound or anything?
But
No. So, we've
she's
got
like,
some
no,
multiple...
you won't get any of these right anyway, so it doesn't matter.
We've got multiple
Hot
questions.
potato.
like-
Yeah,
We've got
that'll be my buzzer.
potato. I mean, you could do it where the first one to chime in, but we've got, what's the word? Like multiple answer questions that you pick
Multiple
from.
choice.
Multiple choice, that's it. We've got some multiple choice questions, and we've got some true or false questions.
Okay.
Okay, so which fruits are in season in January? A, kiwis, B, grapefruits, or C, apples?
Well, I guess it must depend on the country. So apples are generally like a northern hemisphere thing. So kiwis and pineapple was the other one?
Grapefruit.
Grapefruit.
Kiwis, so it's got to be kiwis or grapefruit. What?
I'm going to go grapefruit.
I'm with Kev. I'm going to go grapefruit as well.
Well, it's actually a trick
dear.
question because all 3 of them are in season in January.
Look at this.
Oh.
Yeah.
Grown as the old curve apple, Alice.
Yep. Just kind of show you which way this quiz is going.
I see.
I thought you was going to say, oh, well, it's apple or something because the ones that grow in the southern hemisphere.
Something like that, yeah.
Yeah.
So
well,
technically we got that right, Kev.
yeah, you did. Well
Yes,
done.
Yes, well done.
You
Milo,
got-
yeah.
You got 1 point each.
We got one
Excellent.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, so January is a great month for citrus fruits. Brambley apples, Braeburn apples, Pink Lady apples, and York apples, just to name a few, are all in season.
Wow.
And they're late season apples. So in January, they are in season. And then, yeah, kiwis are in season from mid-January.
Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Okay, so we've got... Okay, are avocados in the same family as cinnamon?
As cinnamon.
Mm-hmm. True or false? Oh, no, sorry. That's not a true or false. Sorry. Avocados are in the same family as cinnamon. True or false? There we go.
Okay. My little brain was well into thought of like...
I'm going to assume that you wouldn't ask the questions if it were not true. So that way you could educate us on why this is in fact true, even though we would think it's false. So I'm going true.
Just for the devilment of it all, I'm going to go in the opposite direction and say false.
Well, Milo, you are correct.
Yay!
Avocados are from the Persea americana tree, which is part of the... I'm not very good at pronouncing some of these names.
No worries.
Lauraceae plant. And that family is the same family that you find the cinnamon tree in.
Fantastic.
That is fascinating. That, yeah.
Just the only one I know where there's loads of massive overlaps is like obviously prunus, which is a big family for a lot of plants and trees and stuff. But I mean, I would never have put
Avocados and cinnamon together.
Avocados, yeah.
maybe cardamom and avocado, maybe.
Yeah.
You know?
Okay. Penultimate question. When were pigs and blankets created? 1950s, 1670s, or 1870s?
Go through that again, sorry. The options.
The 1950s, the 1670s, or the 1870s?
So, since we just learned canapes came out in the 1800s,
Yeah.
and pigs in blankets are a good little thing to serve at dinner parties on the little tray and stuff, I'm going to go 1870s.
Okay.
I'm going to go for the earliest possible answer, and the reason being is only because I'm thinking, like stuff like bacon and stuff was always heavily salted and preserved. So I'm thinking maybe the origins is to do with rolling them in the bacon to keep the sausages a bit longer. I don't know.
So you're going with the 1670s?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're both wrong. It was the 1950s.
The rise of the dinner pies.
So in the 1990s, the first written record of pigs in blankets comes from 1957. And in the 1990s, Delia Smith included them in a Christmas recipe book. And their popularity boomed after that. And around that time, supermarkets started selling them. So we have Delia Smith to thank, supposedly.
Thanks, Delia.
Thanks, Delia.
Yes.
You've nearly made me lose the quiz, Delia. And I need to get the last one right to tie.
Okay.
I hope Milo gets it wrong.
Okay, we've got our final true or false question.
All right.
Lemons are a natural fruit. True or false?
Are a natural fruit.
So they were found on their own
So they
tree.
weren't created.
They weren't bred into existence.
Somebody was walking through a forest and was
I
like,
found them.
what is this? Oh, that makes my face scrunch up.
Yeah.
I think that's false. I think it was a grafted citrus fruit.
Okay.
So here's the thing. If I say the same as Kev...
You know better not to follow me.
Yeah, but
yeah,
the thing
but
is,
I know what you're saying.
because then I automatically win, because there's no way that you could win if we're both wrong or we're both right.
Exactly. Yeah.
But if I go the opposite of you, then we could tie.
Or you could win by a big mark.
Or I could win by a few marks. Or I could, I'm sorry. Yeah. It really comes down to
gamesmanship.
How important is win? Exactly.
Just forget the trivia. It just comes down to
it's all about winning. No, just for the sake of it, I'm going to disagree, and I'm going to say they are a natural fruit.
Ooh.
Honorable man.
Oh, yeah.
Well, drum roll, please.
Mm-hmm.
It's false.
Oh.
Lemons are actually a man-made hybrid. They're bred from the bitter orange fruit and citron fruit, and the bitter orange itself is a hybrid of the pomelo and the mandarin. So there you go.
Brilliant.
I
thought it was kind of a hybrid.
I gave you a tie because I'm such a nice guy.
I had no idea which ones it came off. Have you got a tie-break question for us? Because I really want to win.
Oh man!
I
was going to say false, but I decided to say yes. Oh,
I could come up with one real quick. Let's see.
Milo's like, I just did the honourable thing, and then
just did that.
Trying to crush me at the last.
Just because I was, let's cross the finish line, holding hands together as equals, and you're like, screw that, man, I want to win.
Put your other hand in. Am I mirrored here, or am I?
Yeah.
And we can just cross the line together.
Okay, so when was the first mention of pea in England? 1066. Yes, peas. We've talked about peas a lot today. So, when was the first mention of pea in England? 1066, 1252, or 1503?
That's got quietened us down, hasn't it?
Yeah. Well, now I gotta actually get it right before I was
I'm
just being
thinking.
generous with my wrong answer.
Obviously, there's a lot of modern peas, as we've established,
Yes.
in terms of chronology.
But when
I
was the pea
I
itself first mentioned in England?
yeah, just first mentioned, so it may well have obviously been around.
I'm going 15. What was it? 1560 something?
1503, 1252, and 1066.
I'll go 15.
I'm going to go with 1066. Battle of
Okay.
Hastings, prominent date. Maybe it's some trivia you've got to tell us about the Battle of Hastings.
They're like, hey, let's take a break from the fight, guys.
Let's take a break,
Have
guys.
these things, they're called peas.
What's this? It's a pea. And then they start fighting
we brought
because
these
they didn't
over from
agree
France.
on what it was. Yeah.
We brought them across the channel.
I'll go with that. I'll go with 1066.
Okay. And the first mention of peas in England came after the Norman conquest of 1066.
Oh, come on. but why? Am I absolutely totally wrong?
That is so funny. Wow. Good job.
Yeah, what was the do you know why it was why it was mentioned then?
Well, it was brought over by by what was his name? William the Conqueror.
Charlemagne. What the hell? Yeah, what was the guy's
name? Was it William the Conqueror? Yeah.
William the Conqueror. So it was brought over.
You're both British. You should know that right away. You shouldn't have to think about it.
Just checking.
Hey, you've asked me plenty of questions about the UK, and I'm like,
yeah. I don't know any more than that.
All right.
Just
Good.
William
good
Conqueror's
quiz.
lot poured over. Well done. That's Sorry, Milo.
Well, technically, I would have won that one, but I decided to be honorable, and this is what honor gets you.
Listen
up, kids. Never be honorable, kids. You will lose every time. If you can screw your opponent over to win, do it.
Milo did it to me in the last one, in our last challenge one we did. Yeah, he was like, eat the chili chocolate. I don't care.
Yeah. I don't care if you're going to suffer later on tonight.
I don't care. I don't care if your innards are burning to bits. But just eat it for entertainment. So yeah, don't do that.
That was a lot of fun, Emily.
Thank you.
I love quizzes and stuff, and so
me too.
Yeah, thanks for bringing that.
I'm glad you enjoyed. Thank you for having me.
Thank you. Cheers.
That was another great show, but what have we got next in the Rip It Up universe, Kev?
Yeah, Milo. So on Rip It Up reviews, we've got a film review of Blazing Saddles, and that's quite apt because we've just done a food-based show, and we know that baked beans is a prominent feature in Blazing Saddles.
Yeah.
And then on Rip It Up again, we've got an author and therapist, Neil Sunley, where he'll be talking with us about just that, therapy, and his new book.
All right. Well, that sounds very interesting. So, as always, looking forward to it.
Fantastic, yeah. And I'll catch you again next time.
See you next time.